Welcome to Good Mythical More. Many of the things that you are familiar with related to weddings have an origin story that is made up.
Is that true?
Well, it's false. But then if it is true, we'll learn it. But if it's false, we'll say, banquet of lies.
Banquet of lies. But first, we're donating $1,000 to the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's research to aid in their mission to find a cure for Parkinson's disease through an aggressively funded research agenda and to ensure the development of improved therapies for those living with Parkinson's today. Please join us in giving at michaeljfox.org/donate.
Donate.
Were you making a paddle joke? Or do you think that that's what the paddle says?
Yeah.
Me?
I thought he said banquet of lies. Is that what he said? Instead of bouquet of lies?
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I made a joke intentionally.
Banquet of lies. That'd be a good movie.
I thought I said banquet.
Okay, you really explained it so perfectly, so I don't know why I'm doing it, but I'm going to give you an origin of a wedding tradition, and we either made up the origin or it's true. And let me tell you, just glancing around, there's some really interesting and horrific origins for things. So I think you're going to have a tough time with this one.
Okay.
All right, okay.
The best man was originally responsible for keeping the bride from escaping the wedding and, in some cases, kidnapping her so she could attend the wedding even if her family disapproved.
So, man, in both those scenarios, the bride is under lock and key. It's just either they don't want to get married or they do, but they're not allowed to. That's sad.
Well, I'm just thinking if that was still the tradition,
Best man.
what I've in the South, you often choose your father to be your best man. So people would be like, "What? Link wasn't your best man? You weren't Link's best man?"
Of course not.
Our dads were our best man.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty common in the South.
I thought like brother, sibling.
my
but-
brother was up there, but
Cousin.
my best man was my dad.
I was also up there.
But if I was relying on the best man to restrain Jesse, I don't know if I would have chosen him with my dad. I don't know if I would have chosen you either.
Oh no, I kept her there. I mean, she definitely wanted her to hightail it out of there.
I'm trying to think of who was the most physically capable groomsman that I had. Probably my brother. He could beat you up.
I think I could beat your brother up.
Let's do a boxing match.
Me and your brother?
Rhett's brother versus Link.
Like what? I'm gonna say this is true.
I think it's true. I don't think it's a banquet of lies, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, it's true. And best wasn't short for the groom's best friend. Rather, it was intended to mean the strongest and most capable man for the job.
See what you're saying?
That's what I was saying, man.
All right, so we're tied there.
Who was the most physically capable member of your wedding party?
Well, we both had groomsmen and then we had ushers. Am I including the ushers? Because Chris, he had muscles.
Chris, yeah.
He was an usher though.
I don't think, if you had to pick a groomsman.
Probably my dad. He'd get angry.
At the
Get
time,
angry,
maybe. 20 years ago, your dad could still probably do quite a lot of damage. You
were the tallest.
He's an older guy now,
He
though.
was pretty scrawny. I'm talking about back then, man.
But listen, back then, I was wiry and
wiry and fiery.
didn't have a bunch of bad joints and stuff. I think I'm pretty.
You look like you
good.
could just kind of push on your shoulder and then you topple backwards,
Yeah, you're pretty top heavy, man. Especially with that hair now.
You talking about now?
No, I'm talking about back then. You look like
Wind would blow
super
Skinny.
super skinny. Yeah.
But I was strong, Stevie. I was strong.
Were
I'm
you
gonna
strong
choose
enough
myself.
to carry the bride over the threshold? Because that is our next tradition.
Is that the That's after the wedding, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about going into the consummation chamber.
You're. I thought it was going into your home together.
What do you call the
Yeah.
What's the thing on The Bachelor? The suite? Fantasy suite. Yeah. Once you go across the fantasy suite, You have to have sex. That's the thing that you sign with
No, you don't.
the network. Yeah, you sign a contract with the network. You enter the fantasy suite.
So carrying the
must-
bride
Carrying the
across.
bride over the threshold stems from Henry VIII's marriage to his third wife, Jane Seymour, who, legend has it,
Medicine woman.
floated off the ground during the ceremony. While Henry's first two wives were both beheaded, Jane gave Henry a son and escaped the axe. So grooms began floating their brides over the thresholds of their homes to capture some of Jane's good fortune.
Not quite interesting enough to be made up. No offense if it was made up. Maybe that they're luring us into believing it. That's why I'm going to say bouquet of lies.
I think it's real, man.
It is false. The truth is, it was considered unladylike for the bride to willingly want to leave her father's home.
Oh,
Thus, the groom was tasked with picking her up and forcing her over the threshold.
healthy. That's
This gets
healthy.
better and better for
Yeah, a
women,
lot
doesn't
of-
it?
a lot of chauvinistic stuff.
A little bit in the past, yeah.
You know what? You earned the right for me to vow.
Oh yeah, you have to say things to me.
I want to read my vows to you. I've written my own vows.
Oh yeah.
For my wedding, I also wrote my own vows. I'm afraid to go back and read them.
Let's watch the video, man.
Now, I know I meant it, and like my commitment is stronger than ever to my lovely Christy, but I'm just afraid that it's a bit cringy.
Well, listen, you were not a good evangelical Christian in the early 2000s if you weren't writing your own vows. You had to do that. You couldn't just rely on something in some book somewhere. You had
Yeah,
to
I mean,
do
it was sweet. It's sweet to write your own vows. We said like the traditional vows and our own vows. You wrote your own vows too, right?
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah, I mean, because it's nice because that's the one thing that like Christy wrote her own vows and like, you know, I didn't know what she was going to say. You know, I was actually, it's like she could have said anything.
Were you disappointed?
I was, it worked. I was very happy. I don't remember hers
Yeah.
or mine. I mean, I heard them once, and then our video was the guy filming our wedding. The camera was off.
Yeah.
It's like the battery ran dead.
Yeah, because he was like a family friend. He wasn't a professional.
Yeah, you sit there, you're filming the whole thing, and it's like, I don't know how. Maybe it was that the tape ran out. Because it was like literal tape.
Well, if the tape ran out, then you would have got some of it. You got just people walking in?
Yep.
That's the best part.
Got people walking in,
That's
and
my
then he
favorite
just
part
kept,
of the video.
He just kept filming, because the camera. So the battery didn't run out, but the tape ran out, and he was like, he was watching the wedding through a camera that was not recording, because the tape.
Awesome. Can you read my vows?
Oh,
Your vows to me?
oh yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Of course, I have written these.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Rhett, I promise to love and cherish you even when you crush my dreams by mounting a massive comeback against me in front of millions of viewers.
That's sweet.
I don't think you mounted a comeback today though. You just kind of beat me.
I was down.
You were down for a round.
Third round.
Whether it be a morsel of mayo or a chicken wing, I promise to always let you know when there's food in your beard.
Oh, which is quite often.
I usually let you know because I don't want to look at it.
You know, Link, I know you took the time to write these vows.
I have two more vows.
Because you lost. But, you know, I didn't know for a fact that I was going to win. So I wrote my own vows just in case. And I just feel like this is so one-sided. I should let you know that I vow to never be caught dead in a piece of fan fiction that doesn't include you as my lover.
You're not vowing that, but you would have.
Yeah.
Okay, give me another one that you would have vowed.
I promise to entrust you with something sharper than a plastic spoon before I die.
To do what?
I promise to entrust you
Entrust me?
with something sharper
Oh,
than a plastic spoon before I die.
Great. You gonna give me something sharp.
Yeah.
I promise, if I'm ever asked about your chin, I'll lie with all my heart as if it were an ugly newborn. I don't quite understand what I wrote.
I think I know what you mean.
You know what I mean, though, right?
Yeah.
All right.
It's the thought that counts.
I never said I was good at writing vows.
Engagement rings are placed on what we now know as the ring finger because it was believed that the fourth finger on your hand contained a vein that led directly to the heart.
Right. But back
The
in the
fourth
day,
finger
they used to be placed directly on the penis.
contained a vein that goes from that finger to your heart. Like, how would that even? Why would you even think that? That's wild.
If it wasn't real, if it was a banquet of lies. I think it's a banquet of lies.
That is, yeah.
You going to the banquet of lies later?
It's fake.
It's true.
Really?
it.
But I mean, no,
They
there's
thought
not.
it was
It's
a
not.
main vein running from your finger to your
Yeah,
heart.
they thought that, but obviously that's not true. But
You don't
yeah,
know it's true.
Could,
Have you,
could be true.
that's-
They're all connected.
they are. Yeah.
have you done
All
a
your veins.
dissection of a cadaver?
I have not. Thank you for calling me out.
I mean, what's the origin of the phrase "pull my ring finger"? See, that makes your heart skip a beat. Pull it. Makes your heart skip a beat. No, it makes you fart.
Do you always present the ring finger when it's pull finger? I present
No.
the index finger.
Well, that's the fart one.
That's the fart finger.
That one makes you fart. Pull my finger. Pull my wedding finger makes your heart skip a beat. That's how they knew that. All right. Just want to reiterate, you got a Beans t-shirt a while back. That's why I get a peanut butter t-shirt now.
Right.
And this week is my birthday week, so we're going to have some special sales at mythical.com. So check that out, all right?
You think if you threw
For a limited time.
if you threw a dart at me, I could catch it with this paddle? And we just
Yeah, let's try. I'll throw a dart at you.
maybe later.
Okay, this one is interesting. The tradition of bridesmaids wearing the same dress was instituted to confuse the bride's exes as well as any evil spirits that might be in attendance as to which woman was the bride as a means of protecting her from both groups.
No.
But they don't wear the same
But I
dress
don't.
as the bride.
That's what I don't get.
That makes me think that it is real and it's just like a confusing tradition.
No,
that got
this
messed up.
is a lie.
I think it's
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of gave it away that it's true and it doesn't make sense.
Oh.
It says in Roman times, the bridesmaids would also protect the bride by forming a human shield around her as she walked to the groom's village. God, this is depressing.
That's weird. I just thought it was like, we're all going to dress the same. Because it's just no good reason.
out of support.
Just out of support,
But
All
have
right.
you- Have you ever been to
That's
one of those
interesting,
weddings where all the bridesmaids had like iterations of the same dress? I went to one where it was like
That makes sense.
they were
though.
all wearing the same color, but it was like
Different
iterations.
body shapes.
It was like NFTs of different dresses.
That makes sense because it's hard to pick a dress that everybody's going to wear. It's like,
yeah.
because, you want it different body shapes. You want to have something that you're comfortable in.
Yeah.
The notion that it's bad luck to see the bride before the wedding originated with arranged marriages. The brides and grooms were intentionally kept apart until the last minute, merely so they wouldn't have enough time to call off the marriage upon seeing each other for the first time.
That's a really good
This could be
reason.
real. This could be real. Because, what else could it be? You're not seeing them beforehand so that I can't come up with another reason, Just the surprise of it, It makes it more fun.
I think it's a banquet of lies, though.
No, I think
spite of
this
everything
is
that I just
real.
said.
Can't come up with anything better than just funsies.
It's true.
Yes.
And finally,
And that makes sense.
the honeymoon.
Oh, yeah. Why is it called the honeymoon?
The tradition of a post-nuptial getaway began as a means for the husband to hide his new wife from her tribe for about a month so that said tribe wouldn't be able to find her and intervene in their union.
Man,
This kind
it
of
used to be kind of different, huh? Like things used to be kind of different.
Things used to be so different, man.
Like I think worse. I think things have gotten better.
So you would, you'd take them away so that you could consummate the marriage. And yeah, this makes sense. I think this is real.
Well, just so you could hide them. Yeah,
Just
I think
hide 'em.
this is a wedding ding ding, but just because I don't know what the score is, but I think I'm behind. I think my only chance to maybe tie is to say it's a banquet of lies.
I'm feeling this.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes! Yes!
Yeah, I mean,
I've been married
That's why I went on a honeymoon,
22 years.
and I didn't tell my wife's parents or her village
Village.
where we were going. So definitely not going to Cancun. Definitely not going there.
Man, if I had to do my wedding over again, well, I would have so much more fun. Man, maybe we should renew our vows.
I've been thinking about it,
Just for the party of it.
just for the party of it.
Of course, we could have a party anyway.
Just have a party for no
Let's just,
reason.
you know what? Just have a party.
Just have a party.
The fun never ends when you're wearing the peanut butter tee. Available now at mythical.com.